So, the photos that you just saw were a little different than film photographs normally are. Maybe you noticed it, maybe you didn't. But these photos, as the title of the video suggests, were not color negative photos, but in fact black and white photos. These black and white shots were shot in 2019 on a point and shoot Richo camera when I was just starting to get into film. These were colorized using Adobe's colorizing AI, which is what I want to talk about today. Is Adobe's color AI good, or better yet, as a question, is Adobe's color AI good enough to now give us the opportunity to color black and white photographs both well and with ease? Now, the answer to this is kind of complicated, but generally in my experience with this tool, it is more the latter than the former. The photos from the gig were some of the only black and white photos that came out relatively okay from my experiments, but there are parts of the photos where it fails to accurately fill in color where it is needed. As I predominantly shoot color, I did not have many photos I could test this with. Instead, I grabbed some famous photos off the internet that are now under the Creative Commons license space, such as this iconic photo from World War II. As you can see, it recognizes the sky and for the most part tells the difference between cloud and sky, and it tried to figure out what was the ground as well. It has the color of the skin for the most part there, but it definitely got the clothing color wrong, and unpatriotically did not even attempt to color in the flag, which I'm very surprised about. The next photo was taken by the famous photographer Gordon Parks. One of the main reasons I wanted to use this photo was that because we're discovering AI, like most modern technology, can come with biases, even if we don't believe we are being prejudicial. If you don't have a wide test base of different people, how are you supposed to know what people look like? For some parts, it has gotten the skin tone pretty well on. I know from myself that skin color, especially on digital cameras, doesn't do darker skin as well as lighter skin. So it's cool to see that it hits the mark sometimes, but why it would think that color blue would be anywhere near a human face is puzzling. The next photo is one I took on a point and shoot years ago, and it was yellow, but again, why does it just color part of it in yellow? This photo is again from the same restaurant on the same point and shoot, and has actually got a subject, aka my friend, right in the shot. The hair, the lips, eyes, and skin color are all correct. So is the clothes, and the milkshake even. Maybe a little desaturated, but is on point. But the background, it fails to know what to do. Now, this photograph was from when I moved to Wellington in 2019, where I was going to a few gigs and just shooting with a point and shoot. It actually got the skin tone and hair bang on, my friend, and the guy to the left as well to a degree, and some of the people in the background. But talking of the background, what is it with AI defaulting to weirdly blue stuff? I would be quite interested to see the color palette that this AI was fed. Now, the next photo is quite interesting. I wanted to see how AI would handle black and white photos not shot in the normal spectrum, those that were shot in infrared, and by this time this video comes out, I would have done 4 YouTube videos about infrared, with more in the future for sure. As you can see, it actually handled a majority of this landscape quite well. Through the cricket areas, grass is a little bit too white, and the water, it just doesn't know what to do. And for reference, here is a pic I took on a point and shoot of Wellington from above on normal color film, again most likely from a point and shoot. Now, this photograph is one I really like, and I've tried to reshoot 3 or 4 times as I'm not perfectly happy with it, and it was super weather dependent. This is also a shot on infrared, which is why this has a dreamlike quality where the subject is floating in the void. Now, I wanted to see how it would look like colorized, and to be fair, I don't hate it. But again, whilst it manages to figure out what is trees, it can't seem to figure out how to color buildings, or tell that water and sky are 2 different things. This is where I think infrared makes things difficult, because especially when you take an infrared photo, The water and the sky appear unexposed, or near enough too that they are equal to near black. So the AI can't rely on the amount of light to match with what it knows the sky to be. Even if this has figured up above should be blue. The next one is a black and white photo I took a few months back on T-Max. I tried to see how a more recent picture would look like when I have shot it with some more skill, and unfortunately, as you can see, it struggles to identify the objects. Water seems to be a real issue with this AI program. It can't tell sand from grass, and with this one, unlike all the others, I actually identified colours for it and taught it what each colour should be, but it just got worse and worse and worse till we're left with this mess. Now, from my understanding of how this AI works, what it sees is a number of references both in colour and black and white, and tries to learn how something should be colorized while also being taught colour theory, and how it can reverse tones of grey from black to white equals certain images. This image before you is a reference image that I took on my Sony A7 Mark II. I then black and whited the photos on Photoshop and saved as JPEG. Now, I'm unsure how much information gets saved on those JPEGs, so to be safe, I've uploaded to Facebook the image where it would have been compressed in the file, hopefully removing any hidden information, and then I re-downloaded my image. I am now taking this image back into Photoshop and seeing how well it will recolor. This image confuses me. I have a feeling that the Photoshop AI may not in fact use color theory and try to figure out what stuff is, and think that maybe a tree needs to be green. I can tell what a tree is, but it can't tell what shade equals green. As you can see from the black and white images, the colored paper was quite different shades in black and white, but somehow this became an ugly mess. Now, I took this idea again just a little bit further. I got a stack of my camera film boxes and took a shot. I then took that shot into Photoshop, where I black and whited the photo again. I then exported the JPEG and took it to Facebook, and then downloaded it compressed, hopefully with no excess data, and then coloured the film in. Weirdly, it came out better. Like, it could tell what is red, but I honestly have no idea how this actually works. For the next series of photos, I will run a different experiment. Previously, I've only had film photos where I had just the black and white photos, but in this case, these photos were taken whilst I'd already begun this video as an idea and had been experimenting with the photos I've just shown you. These photos were from my trip to Wanaka, where I shot with my RB67, and I had done comparisons between the Ektar 100, a colour speed film, known for its really great tones and colour landscapes, and Rollei's infrared, which is a black and white. And whilst Rollei's infrared is not a normal black and white film, we have seen for the most part the AI handled infrared fine, and depending on the shot, even better, probably because the AI can pick the foliage really well, and infrared makes the foliage pop. Now, this first photo is the famous purple Wanaka door, which looks white in the photo, which both surprisingly and not surprisingly stays white, while most of the photo does go to some more natural colours. Whilst not entirely accurate, they are not entirely unnatural. A lot of the foliage is mistaken for yellow, but as you can see by the photo I actually took in colour, they are definitely not too close from hitting the mark. You see similar results with the next three photos of the door on the other side. Through this time the door is a little bit yellow, but the foliage is still yellow and some of the trees are yellow. As you can see, it doesn't really hit the mark, but because it was originally an infrared shot, I can make some allowance. However, with the next shot, I am sure I shot without the infrared filter. So this shot is entirely properly black and white. And you do see with this photo, it does look a lot more natural, with the lush, vibrant green permeating through the photo. However, it does not hit the mark. As you can see by the actual colour photo, a lot of the yellow straw was missed and the mountains were not painted in blue. Now, the next shot was an infrared shot on the Crown Ranges, and whilst the colour correction is entirely off the mark, I do see the potential here for some really cool experimental art. I really do like the Mountain Dew psychedelic palette, which, as you can see, is entirely different from the actual colour image I took. But this is where I think AI can shine, giving us a way to come at colour on film that we don't normally see. Again, here is another shot of the valley in infrared, which colorized looks okay and does look kind of groovy, less so than the previous shot, but still kind of groovy, which, apart from missing the greens, is a pretty good colour rendering of the hills. Now, the final photo is one that I think is burned into my head ever since seeing a lot of boxing fights as a child. I actually have a lot of them still on VHS. This photo actually came out really well colorized, so as I said at the start of the video, for the most part it's a no, but it depends on the image, not how well you shot it. It depends on how well it can read the image. For the first half of this video, I did not have any footage, which is a bit unusual for my videos, with the second half having some to provide fluidity to my videos, as I will be doing more comparison shots on my RB when I'm traveling. I will at some point do a follow-up video, and maybe there might be some improvements with the tool, and maybe even some reattempts of some of the photos, and that will be something that I'm quite interested to see. Anyway, it's been real, guys.